Hey you guys, thank you so much for tuning into Mom with me. I have a visitor today. This is a long awaited video that not that I've been dreading, but I just know it's gonna be so long, so I kind of been procrastinating hard on it. I was just like, let me sit down, I need to film it. It's something that I need to do, especially because in the group that I'm a part of, on facing so many moms mentioning postpartum depression. So I'm like, I need to put this video out there. I need to tell you guys my story and what I went through, and maybe it can help. Maybe I can help somebody. I'm a little scared of how long this video is gonna be, only because I went live one time on Facebook on that group, and that live was like an hour. But also it's live, so I was answering questions and stuff. As per usual, if you see me looking down, it's because if I didn't write stuff down, this video will literally be all over the place, and it probably still will be, because I really didn't organize anything. I just kind of like jotted down what I made sure, the topics that I made sure that I covered. So if you're interested in just my story and how I've been dealing with postpartum depression, then keep on watching. My disclaimer, this is just what happened with me in regards to postpartum depression, what worked for me. Always when it comes to something as serious as this, because it is serious, I would definitely recommend for you to discuss it with your doctor, discuss it with your husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, because it's real, and people don't understand it, and some people overlook it. I'll explain to you later on what I mean by that. But any doubt that you have about postpartum depression, of course it's nice to reach out to other people that have gone through it, but always seek a professional's opinion, especially when it comes to something like that, because it can get really serious really fast, and it's better to have that support. Somebody can tell you their experience, but doesn't necessarily mean like that's what you're going through, or whatever the case may be. I did want to also say that if you've had a baby, you know what I mean by the baby blues, which is what you get right after you have a baby. And basically for me, the baby blues was, I would cry out of nowhere. I want to say it was the first few weeks after Noah was born. I was like super sensitive, and I would cry for everything. I remember like it was yesterday, I was sitting in his nursery in my rocking chair holding him, and literally crying my eyes out and kissing him, and just thinking that I wasn't good enough and that I wasn't going to be good enough, and so scared to bring him into this world where there's so much shit going on that is crazy, and you can't always keep your child in a bubble. I just remember always crying about that, and that was in the very beginning, and I would literally cry about everything. Like I remember his Medicaid was canceled for like a few days for I don't know what reason, but then like his appointment, his first appointment, like after he's born, was like 2 days after. So I was freaking out. Oh my God, I was crying so bad. But that's very different from postpartum depression. So once I kind of went over that hurdle, then came everything else. Now, for starters, I've always been emotional, but after I had Noah, my emotions were on 1,000. Like I said, I would cry for everything. I would cry for any little thing. And so after that, Fernando's the one that brought it to my attention, because really I just thought that I was going through normal new mom things, like, and I'm gonna get real personal in this video because I just want you guys to know the realness of it. So there's things like I didn't want to be sexually active. I didn't want him to touch me. I wasn't affectionate with him at all. I wasn't happy. I'm usually a very outgoing person and very happy and whatever, and I wasn't happy. And it had nothing to do with Fernando, my boyfriend. It had nothing to do with him. It had nothing to do with my life. I couldn't explain it. I couldn't explain this sudden like cloud that went over me. And I was like this for 8 months postpartum before I finally did something about it. But I was like this for a long time. And my depression wasn't the kind that I wanted to be in bed all day and nobody bothered me or nothing. My depression was more of like nothing made me happy but Noah. And as soon as I saw his face, I was like 100%, but only with him. Like it was just so different for me. Like I said, sexually, physically, emotionally, like everything was so different. And again, I just thought like, oh, I'm gonna get over this, you know, this is just in the beginning while I get used to. Sorry, that's the timer for my I'm cooking. I thought, you know, I'm gonna get over this. This is just like first time mom things. I need to get adjusted. And I didn't. And I didn't. And I just kept getting worse. And to be honest with you, and to be fair, I felt like I was fixing things and I was changing things and I was getting better. And literally too, like everything would make me mad. Everything would make me mad. I was always getting mad at Fernando about the dumbest things. Well, not at Fernando. I would say like life in general. And then so that would cause me to like stress him out because I would call him super stressed about like literally it could have been the dumbest thing, like the freaking stove wouldn't turn on. This didn't happen, but that's what I mean, like by dumbest thing, like something so minute or minuscule, and I will make it so big. And I was stressed 24/7. My anxiety, like I've never, like I had normal anxiety, I think, before I had Noah. The anxiety that I had after I had Noah was through the roof. And what I mean by that is like I would be driving and I was always scared to get into a car accident. And then I'm like, is he strapped in good? Like crazy stuff. I was like over analyzing everything. We went to Miami one time to a friend's house, and like I remember dropping the bar of soap on the floor, and a little bit of soap stayed on the floor. And then I was like, oh my God, let me clean that. What if a kid comes in the shower and falls and busts his head open and we get sued? Like my mind will go off on a freaking trip. It was horrible. It was just horrible. Like I could not live my day-to-day life without my anxiety taking over and my stress taking over. And then, like I said, it was affecting my relationship so much with Fernando. And not to the point, I don't want to say that we were going to break up, but he was over it and he was fed up. And like, and I had to feel for him because like I understood, you know, at first in the beginning I was in denial and I was like, oh my God, you're so insensitive, you know, like I just had a baby, like what the heck. And not that we argued all the time, but I always felt like he didn't understand me. He didn't know what the heck I was going through because he's not a mom. We went through a really tough time where I almost thought I was going to lose him. And I really don't want to say that because I know that we weren't going to break up, but it was just that bad, you know, that he was already saying like he was over it. And not saying that he was going to leave me, but, you know, he would tell me like I'm tired of this. And finally, I got to the point where I was like, oh, I don't remember what I was reading. And postpartum depression never came to my mind because, like I said, from day one, I thought this is just how it's supposed to be for a new mom. Like, you're supposed to feel guilty like this. You're supposed to cry. You're supposed to be emotional. You're supposed to be stressed out. Like, this is a new life for me. And I don't know what the heck I read. I think it was maybe in one of the groups that I'm a part of that I read something about postpartum depression. And I was like, oh my God, like what if that's what I have? Oh, also because my sister-in-law told me that she went through it. And I remember having this conversation with her like way before I had the baby, but I totally forgot about it. And that made me remember. So I remember calling her as well and saying, this is what's going on. Like, does it sound like postpartum depression to you? And she's like, yeah, it does. So then I joined a postpartum depression group, and I remember speaking to quite a few moms that have postpartum depression. I'm like, oh my God, like this is what I'm going through. And after I did like my research and spoke to moms, I brought it up to Fernando and I had a conversation with him and I said, I'm so sorry, you know, this is what it is and this is what's going on with me, and I really want to see a doctor because I need to do something about it and I don't know what to do, you know, because I feel like I'm trying and I feel like I'm trying to be more affectionate, be more sexually active, be more, you know, happier, not try to let things stress me out. And it wasn't working. I said, everything that I'm trying is not working, so I need help from somebody else, you know? So that was when I was 8 months postpartum. I made a doctor's appointment. I went to the doctor. I told Fernando to come with me because I wanted him to be there and I wanted him to hear what I had to say. I wanted him to hear from a professional, like this is real and what she's going through is real and it's not just her that she doesn't love you or whatever, right? So he heard everything, and of course I cried because I'm emotional, and because it was the first time, besides letting it out to Fernando, that I spoke it out into the world and like let somebody else in and let somebody else know. That's another thing, that I will keep everything inside. Yes, baby. Which is so bad to do, but I would, because I didn't want to bother Fernando. I didn't want to bother anybody else with my problem, and it will bottle up, and then I wouldn't blow up, but I would cry, or I would stress, or I would get anxious, or I would get angry. Like, and that's one thing that I don't suggest for nobody to do. Find an outlet, find a friend, find like your parents or your sister, you know, or your spouse or your brother or whatever. Find an outlet for you to release some of that, because holding on to it is such a weight. And it's like you have enough on your shoulders with postpartum depression. Don't throw all that extra emotion where you can't let out your feelings, you know. Don't throw that on your shoulder, because it just makes it worse. And I feel it made it worse for me. Let me back up a little bit. It got worse when I first started back to work. Like I mentioned to you guys in my very emotional video, I went to work suddenly. So I wasn't prepared. I wasn't ready for it. I had my son in daycare. I literally would not work. I was on the freaking camera every day, all day, watching his every single move. It's different having your child versus having your child at home by yourself. Do you know what I mean? So I was not used to it. And I was a preschool teacher. I was a preschool teacher for like 7 years. So I know what it's like, but it's so much different when you're a mom and you're in that position. So anyway, that's what pushed me off the ledge, because I literally was like a zombie. Like I was just watching him 24/7. I did not do work. It was a stressful time in my life. And when I turned 8 months postpartum, that's when I realized whatever, and then spoke to the moms. And then I made my appointment, went to the doctor, whatever. So she told me, and I was so glad I went to her, because she told me, obviously you can go 2 routes. You can either go see a therapist. Oh, and by the way, I totally forgot that I have Moana on the background. I don't know any copyrights to these sounds, whatever. And if you hear that, I'm sorry. I totally forgot I had it on. I owe all the rights to this though, so. He needs a haircut. Oh my God, don't even look at him. What are you saying? Well, great. I don't remember what I was talking about, but she said I have 2 options. I can either see a psychologist, and she said she would rather send me to a psychologist than a psychiatrist, because they are licensed to prescribe medication. So with them, they have the flexibility of just giving you a medication and not even trying to put in the work. But a psychologist, because they don't have that option, they actually try to help you and try to figure out what's going on. So that, or taking medication, right? So I said, well, to be honest with you, I kind of want to do both. You know, I'll start on the medication right away until I can get in to see a therapist. And I honestly cannot remember what she gave me. I wonder if it was called sertraline. I could be wrong. That could probably be something totally different. I have no idea. But anyway, I was giving something, and a very low dose of it, and I did not like it. The first few days I started taking it, made me really sleepy. I had to take it at night, and then I would take it and not feel any different. So it got to a point, and I think it was a little less than a month, that I was like, I'm not going to take this anymore. One, because I was breastfeeding, and even though that medication is safe to take while you're breastfeeding, I just wasn't comfortable taking it, especially if it wasn't working. So I stopped taking it. I went back to her, and she said, well, she really didn't know any other medication that would be safe for me to breastfeed, so she thinks that I should just see the psychologist and see how that would work out for me. So I said, okay, that's fine. Like, I didn't even push for a higher dose, because that's what some of the moms were recommending for me to do. And so I scheduled to see the therapist, and I started seeing a therapist. I probably only went to 2 sessions, to be honest with you. And that's all I needed. I just needed somebody to sit there and to listen to me. And for me to literally let out every single little emotion that I had, whether it was with Fernando, whether it was about, being a stepmom because that's hard, whether it was about work, whether it was about finances, whether it was about anything, I literally told her my life. I remember she told me to read, oh shoot, I can't remember the name of the book. Is it How to Not Hate Your Husband or something along those lines? If I remember, I will link it down in the description box below. And I remember I bought it, the audio version, and I started reading some of it, and I was like, oh my god, this is my life. Like, this is exactly what I'm going through. And I really wish I would have finished the book, and I didn't finish the book, and I want to finish it. But even those first few chapters, I was like, wow. Like, I knew I wasn't alone, but that just opens everything up to me to where I was like, I'm not alone, and you can get over it. And so literally it was like night and day for me. And like I said, letting that out to somebody else helped me so much. Fernando started noticing the difference. I wasn't stressing as much as I could control, and I think I just got in a better routine in my life and in a better place within myself, that it just helped me all together. Basically, life for me today, I'm much happier. I have my moments, and I don't feel like I'm completely done with postpartum depression, because I heard that you can carry it up to a year after the baby was born. Oh, let me just add to the very beginning of my story. I went initially to my OB that I gave birth with, and he told me there's no such thing as having postpartum 2 months, or you're 2 months already postpartum. There's no such thing as that. That's just called depression. So you need to see a mental therapist or something crazy. And I was like, what? Like, I know what I have, like, and I know that I'm not crazy, and I'm not going through just a regular kind of depression or anxiety. So anyway, needless to say, I switched doctors. So anyway, that's that. So if you hear something crazy like that, seek other opinion, please, because that's what causes people to go do things and to go see people and start taking medications and doing things that they don't need to be doing. Life for me today is so much better. I'm much more happier. I try working on my stress. I try working on, my emotions. I open up so much. I mean, me and Fernando were always open, but I feel like I open up much more now, and I feel like I could talk to him about stuff, and he knows not to let it affect him and let it stress him out. Like, he knows that he needs to be there for me, So anyway, like I said, I still feel like I carried some of the postpartum depression. I find myself sometimes falling back into it. Like, there was a time that I felt like it was creeping back up again, but but then I just start thinking happier thoughts, or thinking about good moments in my life and whatever. So I just always try to remain positive. It's hard because being a mom is hard, but this is so rewarding, and it makes it so worth it, and it makes me want to push more and to be a better wife, be a better mom, be a better friend, daughter, sister, everything. So you can overcome postpartum depression. Don't let it own you. It's okay to let out your emotions, and I honestly think that's what you should do, is let out your emotions. Just don't live there. Don't stay there. Don't feel trapped in your depression. Go seek help. Don't feel obligated to take medication. Sometimes all you need is therapy, which is what I felt like. That's all I needed, was to get it out, And I feel like once you've tried every other option and exhausted every other option, then if you need to resort to medications, there's nothing wrong with that either. Sometimes that's just what you need, the way the chemical balances in your brain and stuff like that. So that's sometimes what people need. Thankfully, I didn't have any suicidal thoughts towards myself or towards my son. That's not the kind of depression that I had. It was more of just like, I wasn't happy, and I was super stressed and super anxious. And, I still struggle sometimes, but I feel like I've come so far from how I was you know, what, 8 months ago, 7 months ago. I mean, 9 months ago, you know. So I feel like I'm much better. And you're not alone. There's so many moms that go through the same thing. Reach out to another mom. Ask her, hey, have you gone through this? Ask her, hey, you know, can you help me? Like, what have you done to feel better about yourself? You know, always seek help, because you never know what other, like, when I came and opened up about postpartum depression, so many of my mom friends came to me and told me, oh my god, I'm going through the same thing. Do you know how comforting that was for me? And not like, haha, everybody gets it too. It was just like, I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I don't need to go through this alone. Like, I found an outlet, and I found my outlet, and talking to those moms and talking to my friends made me feel so much better, you know. And like I said, it makes you feel like you're not alone. There's a whole world out there of moms that are going through the same thing. But like I said, you're strong. You can get through it. You know, always seek professional help if you're in doubt. I always say that. Obviously, it's okay to ask questions to other moms, but you know, with something so serious like this, because postpartum depression can get real serious. I mean, moms have committed suicide because of it, you know, because it's very serious and it's not something to take lightly. If your spouse is going through it, be there for your spouse. Understand them. Don't make them feel like they're stupid for what they're going through. Not that Fernando ever did that, but you know what I mean? Like, just be there for them, you know? Just, even if you're just listening. Like, the littlest thing means so much to us, it's not even funny. If I didn't cover something, if you have any question, please feel free to leave a comment down below. And give this video a thumbs up. If you have gone through postpartum depression, if you're going through postpartum depression, just so I know that I'm not alone. I mean, I know I'm not alone, but you know, it's comforting to see that other viewers are going through the same thing that I'm going through, and know that you can overcome it, because I did. And like I said, even though I feel like sometimes it lingers, like, I'm so much better now, and I just wish that everybody could be on the same page that I am, and be better. And you know, if you're struggling with it now, you're strong. You can get through this. It does not define you as a person. It's just something that you go through, and you know, you'll get over it. You'll get over it. But you have to dedicate time to yourself as well. You have to make sure you're taking care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself as a woman, you can't be there as a mom, as a wife, as a whatever, you know. So just make sure you're taking care of yourself as well. And I should practice what I preach, because I can always put myself last. But I try to at least, like, you know, take time to do my nails, you know, like little things. Even if it's like a run to Target or something, you know, just so that I have that moment. And that's all you need. It's just a moment, because I mean, this is your reality now. This is life now. Being a mom now is my life, and I don't want it any other way. And also, don't forget your spouse. It's hard for them, you know. It's hard enough for them that they're so used to getting all the attention, and then here comes this little person, and all the attention is gone off of them, and it's all given to this little human being. You know, it's hard for them to accept it when they're used to just a certain way. From the beginning. So, you know, just don't forget about your spouse, and, you know, try to do nice things here and there. Like I said, the littlest things mean the most. So you don't even need to like go all out and freaking throw a party, but you know, just do little things to make them feel appreciated, as vice versa, you know, your spouse should do the same for you. So anyway, like I mentioned, if I missed anything, if you have any questions, please feel free to comment down below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Follow me on my social media. You can also inbox me on Instagram or on Snapchat. Message me. Let me know if you have any further questions. Like I said, and I always tell all the moms in my mom group, my inbox. He says booby now. I tell all my moms in my Facebook, like, my inbox is always open, you know, and feel free to reach out to me. I'm gonna go because he's hungry. And I hope this video just gave you guys some comfort, if anything, to know that you're not alone, and that it's possible for you to overcome it, and don't let it own you. And that's all for today. I'll catch you in my next video. Bye. Can you say bye-bye? Dile night-night. Say night-night. Besito. Can you say thank you?
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, guys.